In this video, I'm going to go over a scraping technique, also known as Graston or IASTM, or Instrument Assisted Soft Tissue Mobilization. So what this is basically just scraping along the tissues that are painful in order to elicit a response in those tissues. So an important thing to understand, just as a baseline idea of how rehab works or how medicine works in general, is that we're not actually affecting the tissue at a cellular level or even the fiber level. We're not actually breaking up adhesions, any of that sort of stuff. It's not possible for that to happen. We'd have to cut you open with a scalpel in order for anything like that to actually occur where you're affecting the tissue itself. So when you get bruising, when you get redness, all this sort of stuff from cupping or instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization like we're about to go over, note that that's all happening at the surface level. Those things are just things along the lines of capillaries being broken, stuff like that. It might be increasing blood flow to the skin because you're literally creating friction on it. But don't get the idea from people that their hands or their tools are somehow magic and what they're doing is special in some way. You can do this yourself, and that's what I'm going to go over right now. So what you'll see online is if you search Graston, Graston, you'll see the tools that are like really expensive for this stuff. This is stuff that I think you may need like a license of some sort, like a massage therapist or physical therapist, chiropractor, whatever, to obtain these tools in the first place. But they're like $1,000 a set or like $400 for a single tool. All these things are stainless steel pieces of metal with a certain edge or roundness, certain shapes like these. There's various forms of them and things like that to help you with certain angles and stuff like that, but they're not special in what they actually do. So what I did is I went on Amazon and got these quote unquote buffalo horn gua sha tools. So that's GUA space SHA or gua sha tools. I'm not sure how to pronounce it exactly. I don't know if they're actually made of buffalo horn. They're probably plastic, but different shapes for different little areas of your body. If you don't want to even buy those things for 15 bucks, this works just fine. So this is a butter knife. You can use either side of this. So don't use the side with the ridges on it, because why would you? You have this other side that's perfectly fine. It's real thin here. You can also just turn it upside down. If you're worried about somehow cutting yourself, you can wrap this in a towel and scrape with it. This has a little bit more surface area, so it's not quite as painful, basically. You can also work with the edge of it, depending on how rounded things are and things along those lines. We'll work mostly with the gua sha tools in order to just show you what it could possibly be used as well, though. So the tool I'm going to use today is just this one. The rectangle is pretty basic. It has the little ridges and stuff like that here, but it doesn't really matter that much. Remember, what we're thinking of here is not affecting the tissue itself, but we're affecting the body in a way to make it respond to what you're doing. So what that means is we're basically going to create some inflammation on tissues that are chronically inflamed so that we go through the inflammation process. That's the goal here, is to create this inflammation staging so that it actually finishes a full cycle and can actually heal the muscles and things like that that are causing you issues. This stuff doesn't work unless you're actually including rehab exercises as well with it. It doesn't work on its own. So use this as a tool to mitigate pain and improve your mobility and things along those lines in order to get into positions that allow you to improve your muscles and joints, ligaments, all that sort of stuff, tendons, things. So basically, what I've used this for before is quad tendinopathy, personally. So you have your patellar tendon below your patella and your quad tendon above your patella. So what you're going to do here is basically go cross friction with the way the fibers move. So the quad tendon runs in this line down straight like that. So I'm going to try to cross over it here. You're not going to get in a super taut position, so I wouldn't have my knees bent as I do here. So basically all we're doing here is going right above that patella, and you're going to be scraping against it like so. So what you might feel is a little bit of coarseness, roughness, like you're going over, gravel, things like that. Whether or not it really matters if you go over that specifically versus a smoother area, research probably says nothing about that. So just go over areas that feel painful, but not so much that there's sharp pain. It should be uncomfortable to do this though. So you just scrape over it. And you can do this over clothes like I'm doing right now for an ease of smooth, scraping. But it's going to be a little bit better probably to get even deeper on there if you can, just to create more inflammation if you're able to get there, by having bare skin here and using a lotion. So like a cocoa butter based lotion or something like that will last a good amount of time over something like a body lotion that's meant to be absorbed. I can't get into the specifics of what those things are personally because I don't know, but I've used a cocoa butter based one before and it seems to work fine. Vaseline may work as well, something like that. So as you're scraping, you're just sort of going against the grain. You can also go with the grain if you'd like, so you can come back away from the joint, just sort of scrape away from it, stretching that tissue out a little bit. Again, just sort of moving around different directions. There are specific Graston and other IASTM courses that'll probably tell you you shouldn't go away from the heart or towards the heart or whatever, but really it doesn't matter that much. Just go in all sorts of different directions, see what feels good to you, and go from there. So other areas that might be of need is just along the quads. IT band quad tie-in right here might be painful, so you can sort of scrape into that real hard along the line and just sort of work into it, feeling it out, things along those lines. Same thing back the other way. Some of these areas are going to be harder to cross friction, so like it's a little awkward to come here and to drop off the side, but that's okay. Just sort of work into it again, stuff like that. So you can go on the pecs as well. You'd be going sort of in this line. I don't want to make too much noise on the microphone here, but that's the idea. You can come across any sort of muscle that is painful in any way. Usually this is used for chronic pain when it comes to tendinopathies that have lasted longer than a few days or a few months. So basically you can use these on any muscles or tendons, anything like that, that are painful or have been causing you some pain for the course of several months usually. So we sort of reach into that chronic inflammation stage of things as opposed to the acute inflammation that you wouldn't really use this for. So you're not going to really use this for something where it's like, oh, I've had pain for a week and it seems to be getting better. Just let it get better. So when you're in this months and months of pain sort of thing, that's when you're like, okay, I need to get my inflammation cycles to actually work and sort of push into it more. And that's where we're really going with this. And again, this is just allowing you to do exercise in a full range of motion that you haven't been able to do within the past few months because of that pain. So this can be done for anywhere from between like 5 and 10 minutes at a time. Do it like once a day, maybe once every other day. You can start with a higher frequency to really get that inflammation response going. And then as you get better, as you start having less and less pain or less frequency of pain, you can decrease the frequency of using these things. So just to reiterate, the butter knife can be used in the same way on the back of it where there's no ridges at all. You know, I can be in here scraping along the lines like that. The back of it can be used as well, scraping, you know, wherever you're using it. You can even do like this. If you don't have the folds of your clothes happening or you're on bare skin, you can do big sweeping lines as well as small ones into really specific areas. So try that out however you can and let me know if you have any questions.